Hey, it's Ellie. Welcome back to another video, or hello if you are new. Today, we are back in Summit Sanctuary with part 2 of the concert hall. So, the front area is, for the most part, done. So in this episode, I'm mostly going to be working on the actual concert venue in the back of the building, and also just getting the roof together and all of those, wonderful fun things. A little bit of landscaping, I think. Really struggled, obviously, with this, if you can't tell, this window area that I had to kind of make work with the shape of my building, because I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but I am very insistent on not building like 90-degree angles in my buildings. It's very frustrating when I go to do roofs and things like that. So but yeah, today is going to be a lot of detailing work, and I am in fact very proud of the way everything turned out. Oh, I did cut a lot of this roof footage out because it just got a little old at some point. Me flipping the roof pieces over and over again. Yeah, so the main thing that I am kind of disappointed with this build is just the lighting of the interiors. It's like anything else in this game, the lighting. When you take away the daylight and you make an interior space, it's just so gray. Why is it so gray? Like, I'd almost rather there be like no shading in, I don't know, I'd rather it just stay like sunny, like a roof piece doesn't even matter. Overall, I'm glad that it does. What, like when we're outdoors and things, when you're making like just a small sheltered area, it's lovely not to have the sunlight go through, but gosh, I just wish there was a way that they could like not make everything so gray. And yeah, sorry if you just heard a random beep. It was my air purifier. Every now it beeps when I need to. It completely turns off and then starts beeping systematically on an interval, like every, I don't know, like 5 hours or something, when I need to clean the filter. It's got like a washable filter, you know, so I just have to basically take the cat hair out of it. Anyway, it beeped in the middle of my recording, and I don't know if the sound came through. So sorry if it did. But anyway, back to what I was saying, which is I very much wish it wasn't so gray indoors. Like, even when you check the lighting to stay on all the time, it just doesn't make a difference when it's daylight. It's very annoying. So I don't know. I don't want to put more sunroofs in this building, especially because that would be bad, you know, on actual concert hall. Like, you wouldn't want a roof that is not multiple layers or not like soundproofed in some way, because like if it's raining or something and you have, say, a glass paned roof, like the rain is gonna interfere with the sound of the performance, right? Like, I feel like stadiums don't have, like an actual concert stadium doesn't have, it either doesn't have a roof at all, or it doesn't have like just a single layer roof. So there's a lot of soundproofing that goes into those buildings, and I don't know specifically what it is, but I don't want to build a sunroof for that reason, because I think it would just look kind of dumb, if I'm being honest. I think it would look dumb. It would help the lighting, but only just barely, because even if you have some kind of sunroof or like a skylight or something, it's just gonna make like awkward shadows on the ground, and I don't think it actually really makes a huge difference in terms of getting rid of the overall grayness to these indoor spaces in the game. So that's my speech on that. Don't really know how I got off on that tangent. But in any case, as I said, lots of detailing today. Mostly like bringing in some greenery to this front area. I have been debating about whether or not I want to add a teeny tiny backstage area out of this metal door that you can kind of see in some of the space in this hall space. So just behind that metal door is where I imagine like all the backstage dressing rooms and whatever storage and sound equipment and all that good stuff that goes into making a stage actually function would be through those doors. And it's one of the only doors in the game that I don't have something behind it. And I feel like I could easily, at the very least, just make a nice hall. So I may do that before the end of the tour. I'm not sure yet. There's a lot of little details that I kind of want to go through and just fix and or add things here or there, and that's one of them. But as I said, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to end up doing it or not. You know, there's like also the bungalows, the kitchen area. Like I could definitely add more details that would make that look a whole lot better. I could add a stovetop, which I didn't get, and I actually know the exact piece that I would use. There's like a bullseye piece. It's not an actual bullseye. It's one of the more abstract pieces. But it's small and it has like the outer colored ring and then the center, and I would use that as like the an electric, what do they call it? Like just the stovetop, you know, when the burner is on and the coils glow red. That would look perfect for that kind of piece. So I really feel like I could make it, and I would probably enjoy putting a little bit more detail, because when I was doing the cinematics for that, it did feel just a little bit empty. Nothing crazy, I just felt like there could be just a little bit more detail added, and it would really make that area very unique. But I'm kind of, to be honest, I'm holding off on some of these, I don't want to say unnecessary, all the details are unnecessary, but there's like an extra level of detail that I could make the zoo, and I'm just not sure at this point if my game, and especially my computer, can handle that level of detail. So yeah, basically I just need to at some point finish the zoo, and then I can see how well everything runs when guests are in it, because it's not just going to be as simple as can my zoo run without guests. I want there to be guests, so that's kind of the main thing. So I'm just gonna hold off a little while, run the zoo for a bit, make some cinematic shots where I can, and then once everything is good to go and I feel confident that my game isn't gonna crash all the time, I will go through and add more details. and just see where that takes me in terms of my zoo's capacity. I'm worried. Gosh, I'm really worried about my zoo is going to function with actual guests in it. I'm thinking about limiting my guests to like 200 people or something. I don't know if that's too many. I think I have it already limited to 500. And I don't, yeah. I just have no idea right now. I just have no idea. I should probably open my zoo and test some things before I actually complete my last habitat, which is the polar bear habitat. Because I just keep chugging along, and I already ran into a major issue where my spawn was just not working, so I would really rather not run into another major issue where there's something is just working so far away from what I intended it to be. I don't think anything is gonna happen like that because I didn't make anything crazy in this zoo. Like, it's a lot of walkthrough habitats though. And so I am kind of worried about that. I don't know how the guests are gonna behave with so many walkthrough habitats, you know. It's like half of them. So, yeah. Things are gonna be pretty interesting. I, of course, will keep you guys updated if anything crazy happens, especially if I have to make any major changes to the zoo based on some tests. I really just don't think that's gonna be the case, but I'm also just very worried. I'm just worried. Because I know this game likes to do funny things on occasion. And that seems like one of them. You know. Like I said, I already had that spawn issue, and that was like literally nothing that I did wrong. It was just a weird glitch that ended up in my save file that I now have to live with for the rest of the save file because something broke early on and it decided that there was no reason for the guests to go into the zoo. It was like a navigation issue. I don't know. Anyway, I've already talked all about that. I'm not going to talk about it again. So, in any case, I have pretty much just finished the front area of this concert hall, and now I'm going to begin working on the actual concert hall, the stage, and the venue and whatnot. So I have an idea again. This is one of the things I'm worried about, right? I have all these ideas for billboards that have video clips on them, and I don't know how well those work in game. I've never gotten to the point where I wanted to really upload my own MP4s into the game and see how they function. So I think the only time I ever did that was for I made a quick recording of, I think it was a sea lion, maybe, in a zoo I made a long time ago. And it was just the sea lion swimming around. It was nothing special at all, but it was from Planet Zoo itself. So I don't know if that makes a difference in how well it can kind of compute and not bog down the entire game by having a billboard with a video playing on it. And again, I also have, in my hotel lobby, I also have a couple TVs with just the standard Planet Zoo. I think it's a Welcome to Planet Zoo video or something of the sort that came with the game, and that seems to function just fine. I noticed actually that the TV doesn't actually click on unless the camera is in the vicinity. because a lot of the times I would be roaming around the zoo. I would have pushed play and pause several times, especially if I'm working on any like water features or something, because I always have to play the game when I actually want to see what the water features look like and make sure they're functioning properly. And I think after I had put some water features in, I went to look at the lobby of my zoo and all the TVs were off. And I was like, well, that's weird because they should have been on by now. But literally as soon as I pushed play again, all the TVs came on. So I think it's just like a proximity thing to the POV of the camera, maybe. That's my hunch anyway. Which saves like bandwidth and processing power for your game. Which, so I imagine it does that. It would be a smart move, especially in a game like this where there are so many things to load and just a lot of navigation for the game to process. If that makes sense. But yeah, I want to have in this concert hall, I put a giant TV billboard right behind the backstage, and I want it to be like a cool light show or something, so that it looks kind of dynamic and not as boring, because right now I feel like this concert hall just looks really boring for the most part. And I mean, it is. A concert hall is not all that exciting if there's no concert being played, naturally. But I don't want it to look bad in the cinematics, so I very much would like to have a very cool light show type of background going on behind the stage, just so that it gives that little visual dynamic interest to this stage. And it's yeah, because I'm gonna be honest, I wanted to build this concert hall, but I did not want to spend a crazy amount of time doing the details in this space that most people are not ever going to see in my actual zoo. Like, fine if I put a ton of details into like any area of like a viewing, like a habitat viewing or anything like that, because obviously the guests and also me in any of my cinematics are going to spend a lot of time kind of lingering on those areas because they're the most interesting if they've got animals nearby. But this area is going to be something that I show off once or twice or potentially 3 times, depending on how many tour videos I do at the end. But you're going to see it here, and you're going to see it in the final tour video, if there's 1 or 2 or whatever, you know? And that's it. I'm not going to make a cool cinematic shot for this that has anything of interest going on, you know? Even making like the restaurant is more exciting than just this concert hall with seating and a stage. It's just very standard, you know what I mean? So I didn't feel like I wanted to put hours and hours and hours of time into this particular space. But I am glad that I made this space because I think it's pretty neat, and it's also very practical. If you're going to have a huge resort, it makes sense that you would have concerts here or some kind of concert hall, right? Because then people are more likely to book your weekend if, you know, as the example I used before, if Taylor Swift is somebody that you really want to see in concert and then you find out that she's performing at like a private somewhat private luxury zoo resort. It's like, heck yeah, I'm definitely gonna go there. And I'm gonna see Taylor Swift at concert, and I'm gonna also, you know, experience this cool resort. It's like you don't go to an all-inclusive resort just for the activities, or just for the food, or just for any one aspect of it, but all of it together is what makes it a fantastic experience, you know? If the food at an all-inclusive resort is bad, you're not gonna have as good of a time. If the activities are bad, you're not gonna have as good of a time. So, that's, yeah. That's where I stand on that. I didn't want to put the details in because I didn't think it was worth it. But I do think it's worth it to build. That's the conclusion. Totally worth it and fun to build. So yeah, these little railings that I'm trying my best to make work are supposed to be like, they're supposed to just signal or, you know, create some kind of barrier between the area where somebody might reasonably want to sit down and where you can reasonably stand up. Right, because the idea is that you could sit on one level and then you could also stand, and then you'd be like, you know, between your bottom and your feet. They're on two different levels if you're sitting. So yeah, that's where those bars came into. I feel like most people at a concert hall like this would be standing, so it also acts as a handrail. And then I spent a little bit of time, not a crazy amount, but a little bit of time making these custom, whatever you would call them, metal brackets or what have you, beams, I don't know. It's, you know, the area you attach light fixtures to and whatnot. And as I said, not a whole lot of detail, but this I did spend some time building because I had this idea in my head and I really wanted to make it work. And I do think it looks exactly like what I meant it to look like. And the speakers, I also made those custom, sort of, because it is actually two speakers on top of each other. So it should actually function as a real speaker, if that matters. But in terms of just making a giant speaker set for the stage, yeah, that's what I did. So, man, it's been a while since I narrated any of these episodes. I kind of like got myself way up, and then I literally did not have any more footage to, like, edited footage to record my voiceover for. So that's kind of what I spent doing this weekend, is just getting further along in my editing process for the actual videos, which has been, you know, a time. I'm not gonna say it's super fun to edit the speed build footage, but it's not awful. I make do. I don't know, some of the videos are not, some of the Let's Plays are not as fun to edit though. I don't know why I feel like that. It is on its face way more engaging. I think it's because when I'm doing these speed build edits, I can partially divide my attention. Visually, I can't, because I have to look at it actively to make sure I'm cutting out all the bits that I don't want in the speed build episode, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks, I listen to a lot of podcasts and YouTube video essays, just longer form content like that, and so it is nice to be able to edit these and while also, say, listening to a podcast or something. I do appreciate that aspect of this, so. However, I do think for the sake of my sanity, I will not be doing another project this big for quite some time. I need to focus on some smaller projects that I can edit in like maybe 10 or 20 episodes. I think 15 would be ideal. That would be the perfect number of speed builds in a series. I'm hoping to do that with my New England zoo. But we'll see. I've only got, I don't know, maybe like 8 or 10 animals that I want to put in that zoo, which I did go through a comprehensive list. But yeah, that is actually just about the end of this video. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. I post these speed builds for Summit Sanctuary every Tuesday and Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So check back on my channel or check this playlist for all previous and future videos in the series. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye!
To me, the theme of the song, it reflects like it's someone who's purpose-driven, who wants to do something and is eager to do it. No matter what happens, no matter what circumstances, kind of evokes some memories in me that I should have a purpose in life and live a purpose-driven life.
That's all that matters. We saw as well that even the people who are working behind this project believe in people for who they are. It's an honor, and we thank you a lot for